Alright, I've got an interesting one today. And before we dive into this video, I want to give a big shout out to my buddy Mike over at the Sacrificial Science channel. A few days ago, he did a video on a product that I had no idea about. And ever since he put that video out, I've been getting messages from people asking me if I'm going to do a review on it. And what we're going to be talking about today is this Braun 1000 lumen weapon light that you can pick up at your local Harbor Freight. And if this light looks familiar, that's because it's pretty much an exact clone of the Streamlight TLR-1 HL. But the big difference between this Streamlight and our light from Harbor Freight, this comes in at under 50 beans. So let's switch over to the other bench. We're going to go over the packaging real quick. We're going to go over the specs, and we're going to talk about what the difference is between this light and the Streamlight TLR-1 HL are. Alright, so here's the packaging. It's pretty simplistic. You got your light here. You do have your rail adapters right here. There are 4 here. Now, one of them's a 1913 rail, another one's for the 320. There's a couple other ones. I do not see one that says Glock on it, so I'm assuming the Glock rail is probably already installed on the light. And then right below that, you do have the Allen wrench and the light. Now, it does say try me right here, which means the battery's installed, and it is. So, pretty simplistic packaging. We're going to go over some of the specs here. And if you want to see what the back of the package looks like, there it is. Alright, once I got the light out of the package, there was some extra hardware here. And I said earlier that the Glock rail adapter was probably already installed, and I was correct. Alright, I went ahead and installed the 1913 rail adapter because I'm not going to be putting this on a Glock. I'm going to be putting this on something else, which I'm going to show you here in a second. As far as changing out your rail adapter, it's exactly the same as swapping one out on a Streamlight. Alright, I went ahead and grabbed both the lights, so we'll just kind of go over each side and the back and the front here. Everything is pretty much identical, except the Streamlight obviously has Streamlight TLR-1 HL on the side, but the battery placement on the back and the hot sign are both the same. As far as on the back, the switch is exactly the same. The battery door is exactly the same. The Braun just has a little bit more of a gloss finish, where the Streamlight is more matte. But other than that, pretty much identical. Now on the bottom of the light, the Braun has a warning label on it. The Streamlight does not. Maybe it did at one time, I don't know. I've had this light for quite a while. But the bottoms are pretty much identical. Now, as far as the front of the light and the bezel goes, they look pretty much exactly the same. The Braun, obviously nice and clean because I have not used it yet. The Streamlight, this has thousands of rounds on it, which it looks pretty good for the round count, but other than that, identical. And the last thing we'll look at here is where you mount it to your gun. Same thing. Everything is pretty much identical. Alright, now let's talk about the specs and the differences between these two lights. So our TLR-1 HL, this is cranking out 1000 lumens. It has 20,000 candela, and the runtime on this is 1.5 hours. With a max beam distance of 283 meters. And the TLR-1 HL has an IPX7 waterproof rating. Now when it comes to the Braun light, the lumens, exactly the same. 1000 lumens. The runtime is exactly the same. 1.5 hours. On the Harbor Freight website, they have the beam distance on this at 850 feet. And when I did the calculations on that, that comes out to 263 meters. So the beam distance is 20 less meters on the Braun than on the Streamlight. Now, as far as the candela goes on this, they have nothing posted on the Harbor Freight website about the candela on the Braun light. And they also have no waterproof rating on this. So if it's exactly the same as the Streamlight, it's going to have an IPX7 waterproof rating, but there is nothing on the website in the specs about that. But we are going to test it. We are going to dump water on this. I'm not going to submerge it, but I do shoot in the rain quite a bit, so I want to make sure this can hold up to water. So we will take it outside and we'll dump a bottle of water on it. And we will also go out after dark and test out both lights head to head and see if we can see any difference in the beam. Now, as far as a drop proof rating goes on this, they do have this listed that it can handle impacts up to 5 meters. I would like to test that out in this video also, so we will drop it from about shoulder height. I highly doubt I would ever drop my gun with this light on it from that height, but we'll test it out anyway. Alright, I've got the Braun light mounted on my Walther PDP Pro. And yes, this gun is clear, no mag, nothing in the chamber. Let's talk about holster compatibility. So I've got one of my Works holsters here. I actually have 2 different Works holsters, but my other one is on my battle belt, and I don't feel like taking it off. Now this is made for my PDP Pro and the Streamlight TLR-1 HL. So, let's see what we get here. Nice. Locks right up, just like my regular Streamlight. So, holster compatibility. If you've already got holsters for the Streamlight TLR-1 HL, well, it's definitely going to work with the Harbor Freight light. Now, as far as function goes, it's exactly the same as the Streamlight TLR-1 HL. You're going to hit it down on this side. That will turn it on, and it will stay on. If you want momentary, you will push down on this side, let off, it shuts off. So controls, exactly the same. Now I'm going to show you what batteries come in this. They're just, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, but they are lithium CR123A batteries. Same exact batteries as the Streamlight. Now I carry a lot of these extra batteries with me in my range bag and in my EDC bag. I do use rechargeable ones, so you do have that option. But like I said at the beginning of the video, this does have a 1.5 hour runtime with these batteries. And as far as replacing the batteries, exactly the same as the TLR-1 HL. Alright, we're out in the backyard and I've got the light on and I've also got a bottle of water. So let's see if this thing is waterproof. Alright, there is a whole bottle of water on it. I'm going to shut this off. I'm going to let it sit, and we'll turn it back on here in a few minutes. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes. It's still wet. I have not wiped it off. There's our momentary. It's working good. Like I said, I don't know if it's IPX7 waterproof rated like the Streamlight, but water didn't seem to hurt it. Alright, now we're going to do the drop test. I'm going to drop this from shoulder height. I'm 6'3", so let's turn it on. We're going to leave it on. Shoulder height. Okay, it did shut off when it hit the ground, but it hit the switch. Turns right back on. Let's check and see if momentary works. We're good. Let's turn it back on. Let's drop it on its side. Okay, that time it stayed on. Don't see any damage to it. Got some scratches on it, but other than that, it's looking pretty good. Alright, let's drop it right down on the bezel. Okay, stayed on. Lights on. Turn this off so I'm not blinding you. We definitely scratched it up pretty good. I'm going to guess that the finish on this is probably not as good as the Streamlight. We've got quite a bit of scuffing there. I mean, that just Yeah, that's pretty deep. It's right into the housing on this, but other than that, momentary, on. This does have a strobe function too, like the Streamlight. I forgot to tell you that, but I'll never use it, but it does have that. All right, so far I'm impressed. All right, guys, we are out behind the house, and you know the drill. We do this in every light video that we test out on the channel, but that tree out there in front of us is 40 yards out. So we're going to start off with the Streamlight TLR-1 HL. And now our Braun light. Now let's turn them both on at the same time. So we've got the Streamlight on the left and the Braun on the right. Now I don't know what it looks like on camera, but with me looking at both of them, I cannot tell the difference between either one. All right, so my final thoughts on this Braun weapon light. I'm pretty impressed. It survived the water test, survived the drop test. I do want to make a correction. I kept saying the drop rating was 5 meters. It's actually 5 feet. So dropping it from shoulder height was right about 5 feet. Now, what's the con to this light? I got on the website because I was trying to figure out the warranty on this. Now, the Streamlight has a lifetime warranty. I've used the warranty before on Streamlights, and their customer service is amazing. With this Braun, from what I can tell, it only comes with a 90-day warranty from date of purchase. So that's something you want to keep in mind. But on the same token, you can buy about 3 of these for the price of the Streamlight. So that's something else to keep in mind. Now, do I trust this to put on an EDC or a carry gun? Absolutely not. We haven't tested it long enough to even make that decision yet. But as far as a light for a training gun, or you just don't have the money to put a bunch of Streamlight TLR-1 HLs on all your guns, well, this probably would be a good option for that. Now, as far as the testing goes on this, we are going to do a long-term review. I've got a ton of videos that I have to get filmed. So any of the handgun videos that we're doing, there's a couple other things that I can mount this on too. For probably the next month or two, we're going to use this light in a lot of those videos. So we'll get a pretty high round count racked up on this, and we'll come back and talk about it. But from what I'm seeing right now, it's pretty damn impressive. Now, it's been about 2 hours since I did that water test, and no water got inside the light. There's no condensation inside the bezel or anything like that. So, I don't know. I think it might be a pretty good light. We'll just have to see. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.